When you look at a vehicle, because the cost of oil changes, the cost of oil is going up. I'm finding many fleets are changing the oil not too far out, like not stretching them too far, but they're changing them too often.
Welcome back to the Trucks Roll podcast with Tom Weirs. This is part 2 with Brian Mulshine from Navistar. We're going to be talking about the future of connected technologies and also the purchase of Navistar by Volkswagen. Hope you enjoy. We at Weirs, we always preach about preventive maintenance. If you could do nothing right other than preventive maintenance, that's half the battle. I know that there's a lot of discussion and movement towards fuel consumption in terms of preventive maintenance intervals. So I thought, anything that you've seen on the preventive maintenance side as it relates to connected vehicle technologies, and then if you could speak specifically to the fuel consumption and what the trends are.
When you look at a vehicle, because the cost of oil changes, the cost of oil is going up, and the quantity of oil in an oil pan, right?
Yeah.
I think about many leasing fleets out there. I'm finding many fleets are changing the oil not too far out, like not stretching them too far, but they're changing them too often. Some of our engines are designed where if they have really good fuel economy, getting over 7 miles a gallon on a Class 8 truck, you can go 60 to 65, 70,000 miles on our engine.
Wow.
If you're using, a fuel economy strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still finding people changing it at 40 because that's how they always did it. That's how their dad did it.
Right.
And it's one of those things that the technology that's in oil today, it has the right chemistry that it doesn't break down as fast. Mm-hmm. You also have better filtration, a lot more expensive filters. So you got to leverage that technology to actually stretch it. Now, if you look at an operator's manual, the problem is it's a Rubik's Cube. When do you change your oil? Well, it depends. Depends on your fuel economy. So when you look at the table, you're going to want to look and say, my fleet is getting so many miles per gallon, but you might find out that, half your trucks are getting greater than 6.5 and some are getting less. So let's put the truck on the schedule and let's take advantage of optimization of your fuel economy.
Yep.
In Navistar's International 360 application, or IC Bus 360 application, we have the ability to do advanced PM logic where we build templates that's like a Rubik's Cube. We can also do it on all makes. We do it on Detroits and Volvos and others. And we can actually leverage the fuel economy as long as your telematics broadcasts us the fuel economy data. And we'll actually let you stretch the oil change intervals, and you're going to save a lot of money. Some fleets I know are saving 1 to 2 oil changes per year. And if they have a number of trucks, you can do the math pretty quick.
Right.
It's a lot of money.
And associated downtime and all the other things go along with, pulling a truck in the shop. But what about the greasing the kingpins and the drivetrain and the driveline? And what about vocational applications where, does that fuel economy apply in those other applications? And are you getting like greasings between those long intervals, or how is that being handled?
I was actually going to mention that, where if you're in a severe application or off-road, has bad environments,
Sure.
off-road environments, a lot of people are still able to put into the APM product, I want a grease service every 60 or 90 days. A lot of people I see out there are doing a 90-day dry service. Yep. And then do an oil change based on the engine mileage and fuel economy.
Okay.
And they're saving a lot of money, but they're still looking at the truck and doing a dry service.
Right.
And that's optimizing the vehicle cost, improving your TCO.
Yep. Yeah. I think about, a lot of those vocational applications that we serve where they have lift gates or something. And, a truck's, if you have a lift gate that goes out of service at a customer's lot, it's going to put the truck out of service. So how do we look at that equipment periodically to make sure that's not going to happen? But also, to your point, take advantage of the technology and not spend money on oil changes and filters and stuff if we don't need to. Yep. So those are all great points. I really appreciate that. Where do you see, where's all this going? I mean, increasingly, I was at a dealer meeting back in November, and there's more discussions about zero emission vehicles and hydro, fuel cell, I guess, types of vehicles. And so, I mean, What's, as you look, you've been in it for 30 years, I've been in it 30 years. What does the next 10 years look like to you?
It's kind of
Easy
scary.
question, by the way.
I might be retired in 10 years. That's a good thing. But,
Yeah.
and I think about this and really, I always remember hearing somebody talk about the future. And I'm going to first explain this one story. I remember it was like 1908, New York City. They showed there was one auto buggy and all horses. And they showed that same street 10 years later, and there was all auto buggies and one horse.
Right.
Now, I think the speed of change is much more dramatic than what it was in the 1900s. And I think based on even an article yesterday up in Canada, it's by 2030, I think they said that it's going to be 35% of the vehicles will be electric, or fuel cell, and we're working with partners on electric and fuel cell. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have some incredible technology with our partners with Traton. It's really exciting what's coming. But I think right now, I say I'm living with the short-term mentality, and I got to be long-term game where I am building our strategy where we can do predictive and then also condition-based. There's also the term condition-based maintenance, where you're not going to change the oil on a vehicle. The engine's going to tell you when to change the oil, just like some auto manufacturers do that today. That is coming in the truck space. And then also I look at electric. It's just going to be something different to service. Mm-hmm. It's not, okay, we don't have oil drain, but you're going to have other items to service.
Yeah.
So, but it is going to change the game of servicing in the future. And I think that you're going to see electric grow quick and fuel cell for the longer over-the-road trucks. But it is going to change. And in 10 years, it's not going to be as much. But I still think it's critical because I don't think ICE engines, internal combustion engines, are just going to go away. Right? We're still going to have to support both.
Yeah. Sometimes I live in the Midwest, so sometimes I'm a little, I guess, conservative, stuck in my ways, a little skeptical about all the change that people talk about. I go back to we started this conversation off with Aware in the 2003 and 4, and it took a long time for that technology to evolve. But I was down again, back to the dealer meeting, which really had an impression on me. And there was discussion about, these electric vehicles, and somebody made a reference to think about it as ketchup coming out of a bottle. You wait and wait and wait, and then plop, there it is. And they said, that's what's going to happen with electric. And I can say even in the last 6 months, I'm starting to see more activity around electrical vehicles. So I have to say, even though I'm maybe stuck in my ways and a cynic at times, or I don't want to change, it feels like it's coming, and it feels like there's going to be more change in the next 10 years than we've had in the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
And, we have no option but to rise to the occasion and really face it head on. So it's going to be a very interesting time for sure. And so one of the things, and you touched on this just a moment ago, and I want to explore it a little bit, but tell us about Traton. So Navistar, my family got involved as an international harvester dealer back in 1964. So we're 58 years into this. I've been involved in 30 years. Being a guy from Indiana, where Fort Wayne was, a lot of production, but there's a lot of history there with the company. Of course, Chicago's not far from where I lived as well. So I've been an international guy my entire life. And last year, Traton, which is part of the Volkswagen organization, bought Navistar. So can you tell us a little bit about that transaction and what you think that means for the brand and for the dealers and hopefully even for the customers?
I'll tell you, if without global scale, we're dead. I mean, when I look at that, the cost to engineer a product today, tool a cab, tool an engine, design an engine, the cost is incredible. And then you look at the commodities that go into building the vehicle. And really, as other OEMs are consolidating, so are we. But you think about this, in the past, I'm just rounding numbers. We used to put, let's say, 1 million tires on a vehicle. Well, now we're a part of a much bigger family that's buying like 100 million tires between the Volkswagen, Scania, MAN, Porsche, Bugatti, all these other companies that are consolidated in the Volkswagen Traton family. We go in with incredible, buying power where we're able to work with our vendors and get a much more competitive price like the other manufacturers are getting. But then also when you look at the engineering, the teams that are a part of the Traton family are fantastic. Our engineers and their engineers are working together, and we're bringing products to market that are fantastic. that you'll be seeing some new products coming with our new CBE1 drivetrain. That's going to be fantastic. That'll all be consolidated, all be integrated. And I think the customers will have a really good warranty and a really great, reliable product coming out of a family of other vehicle manufacturers.
Yeah.
That's part of the family.
As a dealer, sorry to interrupt you. As a dealer, I could sense complete different feeling at the meeting. Just the new leadership backed by Volkswagen, Traton, just the ability to invest and the long-term horizon, and what are we doing out, not quarter to quarter, year to year, but what's 5-10 years look like. Was really a breath of fresh air. And that's not a knock on the previous leadership, because it was a standalone private company with limited resources, and now being part of that much larger global organization just affords them so much more creativity and financial resources and scale and all the things you mentioned. It's really exciting to be a dealer at this point in time, quite honestly.
It's exciting to be an employee here.
I bet it is.
It's really, we're seeing great people. In fact, this morning, spent an hour on the phone with our counterparts from Scania, working on projects that you'll see in the States here in the future. And we're leveraging ideas, working together, and it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Well, it's been amazing to talk to you. Is there anything else that our audience ought to know about, connected technology or the digital future, or anything that comes to mind that I haven't touched base on?
My biggest thing is you got to understand the technology first and leverage it. And work with a dealer group like yourself that has, you have a team, we call them uptime advocates, that can help your customer apply the technology. And really, I say, how to get them wet and get them into it. And either the customer can do it or you can support them with your strategy. But we got to make sure they understand how to apply it into a process. And I can't thank you enough for what you've done for our customers.
No, I appreciate it. And, it's really great to get you on the podcast, because, I've had multiple conversations, and, you were down. We went out to dinner and spent the night in my house a couple months ago. And it's great for me to hear all this stuff, but my ability to repeat it and share it back to our team or customers is limited. So the ability to get this on tape as part of the Trucks Roll podcast is really a pleasure. And hopefully it's a meaningful, some meaningful content for our customers, prospective customers, or others in the industry. So we really appreciate your time, Brian. And we call this the Trucks Roll podcast, because I'm always reinforcing to our team that our customers aren't paying us to have trucks sitting in the lot or in our bays. They're paying us for their trucks to roll. And like Southwest has Wheels Up, let's get those aircraft in the air. That's what we want to do at Weir's, is get our customers' trucks up and running so they can make money delivering products and services in a safe, cost-effective, and reliable manner. And we couldn't do that without you and the Navistar team and all the support that you give us. So we appreciate you and the 11,000 or so folks, and also other partners in the industry. So appreciate you, Brian, being on. There's a wealth of knowledge and a true industry expert and innovator. So thank you very much. And for those of you watching, be on the lookout for future episodes. We're going to have great content and leading industry experts helping you understand what's going on in the industry and how to run your fleet a little more efficiently. Thanks for tuning in to the Trucks Roll podcast. Really appreciate Brian's time. If you need help with connected technologies, telematics, or those sorts of things, go to weirs.com. Of course, we're always here to help you with your maintenance and repair needs for your commercial fleet. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon at the next episode.